This was the first #1 single of Jennifer Lopez. It's called Love Don't Cost a Thing.
Big follow-up. This is a follow-up to 1999's If You Had My Love, which got to number 4, and Waiting for Tonight that got to number 5. This, for me, again, intro juice, and an intro juice that was just really important for women. Really, really important.
I really want to pick that intro apart because it kind of gets you the full house on the pop production bingo card of the noughties. You've got the classical element that so many tracks had in the year 2000. It's got those R&B slam sounds that are like bump, bump, bump. It's got a funky bass lick that comes in. Bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, bam. It's got the classic twinkly sound. It's got a drum loop sample. And that's just the intro. That's just those first 15 seconds. So rich in terms of production.
I think we've realised through this podcast, through Series 1, that maybe 16-year-old Scott didn't really listen to things effectively. He'd listened to it, but he hadn't really heard it, and then would sing stuff that didn't make sense. And again, with a crossover from America, a lot of the time we didn't know what things meant. But today, for the first time, even though I've always loved this song, I heard every single lyric, and now it completely makes sense to me.
Yes.
And I didn't realise how much it didn't make sense to me before. So I think one of the lyrics says about him rolling up in an Escalade. I did not know at 16 what an Escalade was. I thought she was talking about a chicken escallop. This makes absolutely no sense. Do you know what an Escalade is?
It's a car.
It's the big baller car that all the rich people ball up. It's like if people in the UK wanted to upgrade from their Range Rovers, your option is to get an Escalade. I didn't know what that meant when I was 16. That made no sense to me. I also thought that whenever she was singing, what's the bit I think that she was singing that was quite interesting?
You turned up in a chicken breast.
Yeah. So she was going, think you gotta keep me iced, you don't. I thought she was saying, yes, think you gotta keep me, yes, you don't. Didn't realise she was saying, think you gotta keep me iced, you don't. It didn't make any sense to me, because I was like, why would I think she meant iced? What the hell was she, a sugar donut? None of these things made sense to me, because I was just this like young little small town guy, not knowing what iced meant, not knowing what flossed meant and what Escalades were. Yeah, I would sing this whole song and just had replacements for everything, and now I've heard it, and it is for me a Say My Name, it is a 7 Days, it is a Fill Me In.
Oh, I want to see your face back on your 16, 17, just trying to figure out what this song, because if some things were the complete opposite of what you now know the case to be, you must have finished the song and gone, what the fuck just happened there?
I know. Like,
Make up your mind, woman. Do you want the gold? Do you want the jewels? Do you want to just be left alone? What do you want?
Meet Trevor's house party. Trevor, do me a favour, will you mix this track into the one about the chicken escallop? That'd be great, thanks very much. I'm a bit peckish. I'm going to go get some spiral twirls from Tesco.
I think for the record, A19's first single will be about chicken escallops.
Yeah, there's like 110% chance that chicken's going to be referenced in our first single.
Yeah. J-Lo has always had a real pop star quality. Like she's just well, first of all, she always kind of has that star quality, but also she's so keen to present herself as like a real person as well. Like, she doesn't need the jewels. I mean, she does say that she doesn't need it because she's got her own, which is fair enough, but she's worked hard for it, But she's got tracks like I'm Real, Jenny from the Block, she's got this, and she does kind of present herself as somebody who's kind of desperate to not be one of those over there who's flashing about having bling and having cars and stuff. There's a kind of humble brag here, isn't there? The kind of humble brag of like, keep yours, I'm also rich as fuck.
Yeah,
we're fine.
She did get griefed for that. That was always the way that the press tried to get her. So anytime she showed anything of any sort of a lavish lifestyle, she was not from the Bronx, or if she was from the Bronx, she wasn't from the correct neighborhood in the Bronx. They just really tried to bring her down.
Yeah.
And she stayed up and she managed to do really, really well with it.
Yeah, if there's one thing I don't want to do is add to that kind of thing. I just think, she's worked so incredibly hard, and I think there is that kind of perception in pop music that, just because somebody's rich, it just means that they're, upper class or they've inherited through wealth. I mean, I think especially for minorities like J-Lo, being of a kind of Latin origin, she will have been given a hard time, and unfortunately you still see it now, because somebody comes from a minority ethnic background, they are kind of persecuted in that way. I'm not doing that. I'm saying J-Lo's a queen. She's an absolute queen.
Absolutely. And would she have had that grief if she was a white man? Absolutely not. And I'm pretty confident about that. And she has done her thing, and she has done it with strength too. Video-wise, she is class, all right? So it kind of starts with a pre-video before the song kicks in where she's being stood up again by her partner who sent her a bracelet. She's in his pad, it's a big one, and then she's just like, I'm out of here, throwing away her ice after she's been stood up. She does some really great rolling about on the beach. Her dance routines, the breakdown is fire.
Yeah.
It is tight. You can't not watch that breakdown, whether she is so good in it.
The routine's great, but the CG of it and the green screen looks very cheap. Very, very dated and cheap.
It kind of did at the time as well, so there was nothing spectacular about that at the time.
No.
Whereas, with Mel C's I Turn to You that we've discussed before, some of the cloud effects and stuff coming in, hers was quite genius.
Yeah.
And A1's take on me was quite genius. Hers was never really meant to be that. I think all eyes were supposed to be on JLo and her braids and the routine. But I remember a program which was called Becoming that was on MTV. Do you remember that program? Do you ever hear of it before?
It rings a bell, yeah, it does ring a bell.
So normal punters got to kind of put together some sort of like really basic audition tape, send it to the show and go, today I want to be Britney Spears and I'm a slave for you. And then the production company would come out and surprise them and be like, you're going to be on Becoming, you're doing this. And I remember these two twins got to do this track in America, and I remember watching it, and it's the Becoming I've probably watched the most. The twins had to choose between them who got to be JLo in the house, the pad driving the car and rolling on the beach, and then the other one got to do the really intense breakdown dance routine. And I remember just watching it at the time, and it was just brilliant. And it must have been on like TMF or something like that, on one of the two music freeview channels at like 6 o'clock at night or something, after the Fresh Prince had been on another channel. But I remember just watching it, and it was always on, and it was class. But this track for me just made JLo truly international, like a global superstar.
Yeah, and it kicks off a really interesting run because, this is the first number one. Her next 8 singles are in the top 4 in the UK, which is incredible. And of the next 12, just one doesn't get in the top 10. And that's spanning from 2000 to 2005.
Whoa, man.
Which is pretty nuts, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, this, for me, just a piece of R&B heaven. So good.